Welcome back, everybody. Thursday morning edition of Hot Mic rolls on. This is the Central Region Bracket Division II men's basketball tournament that begins this weekend. Basically, it's the Northern Sun Light Invitational. You got 5 of the 8 teams out of the NSIC. The Dragons, as we previewed on Tuesday, will get Fort Hays State coming up Saturday afternoon. The nightcap is the game we're featured here in this segment, which is an all-NSIC showdown. Concordia St. Paul and Minot State. They just played a couple weeks ago at the NSIC tournament, a game the Beavers won that essentially locked up a spot in the national tournament. They ended up winning another game to get to the NSIC championship where they lost to the Dragons. But they found out they're in the NCAA tournament for the first time as a Division II program. I had a chance late yesterday to visit with Beavers head coach Matt Murken before they got on the road. They're traveling now to get down to Topeka, Kansas for the regional. About the selection show, watch party they had on Sunday, and the excitement around his men's basketball program.
You know, just something you dream about doing as a player or coach is, you know, man, I remember just counting down the hours to watch that as a kid when the selection Sunday was on, and the D2 selection Sunday is firing away at 10 p.m. at night. But we had a nice crowd there. It was pretty cool. They had some posters and stuff that our guys were signing up in front. And I think it was a good experience for them. And you know, there was some kids hanging out late at night that were loving it, I think, to be hanging around our guys, and a lot of supporters and former players and stuff around. So it was pretty cool. And luckily the Central region went up. I think it was the second region that went up. So it was at least early. And everybody just started going crazy. So that was cool. Definitely cool.
No surprise to you or anybody watching that the Northern Sun has 5 representatives. In the back of your mind, did you think, hey, we're probably going to get a team from our league if we make it in?
Yeah, we thought we were going to be, 3, 4, 5, maybe 6, but it sounded like from everybody I talked to, we were going to be probably 4 or 5. And just kind of looking at it, it was tough because you want to see it. We could have had another 6th team if there wasn't an upset.
Right.
But at the same, and at the same time, you're like kind of cheering to get our league in, but you're also like, maybe get somebody else in and play somebody else, So, but we knew there was a good possibility it'd be Winona or Concordia again. And I didn't realize, I knew what 13 years of our D2, this is the first time we've made it, but Concordia had never made it either. And they're, they've been about 22, 24 years of D2, I think. D2 eligible for postseason. So it's kind of funny. I saw somewhere we're the only 2 first-year teams when we play each other first round. So
what do you take away on how much film you've been watching on those 2 games with St. Paul, and how much is it applicable for what you're going to see on Saturday?
Yeah, we just played them. Their last game was against us. We had a couple after that, but so at least we had some other stuff to look at. We tried to focus mostly on ourselves, really, because we're pretty familiar with them. And I'm sure, and then I don't want to think too much about it, but then you're watching a few things and you're like, well, are they going to tweak that? Are they going to tweak this? How do we stay one step ahead of them, But it's going to come down to us being healthy and ready to go and executing, and I don't think there'll be a lot of surprises either way.
To have that run, Matt, in Sioux Falls, what did that mean? What do you think it means for your program? You probably can't you can't probably wrap your head around it right now, right? Because you're still playing, but the effects could be huge on this, right?
Yeah, I mean, it was great just to have a lot of former players reach out and, come in and show up. And a lot of people showed up, man. One of the guys that was a high school teammate of mine, his dad just drove out from Eastern Iowa to watch the game one day and ran into him, and just cool stuff like that with people swinging by to watch the games. And then I think that experience for our guys, obviously it's fun to keep winning, but then even just to, I feel like us and MSUM are playing some really good basketball, and just kind of get that intensity level in that championship game. Took me a couple days to want to rewatch that one back, but man, that was a good game. And we felt short, but I thought that was like and that's a NCAA, tournament high quality game, especially going into the Central region, which is always loaded. We're talking about on the call last night. I think it was whatever it was, 7 of the last 9 champions, or 8 of the last 10 years somebody's played in the championship for our region. So, you're going to have to beat somebody really good to get there. But if you keep, it's just like the NSIC. If you can win the NSIC tournament, you can win the regional. If you can win the regional, you can win the whole thing. So, But that was a good experience to get to go through that and just battle and battle and battle. And we took a few things away from there that we weren't quite ready for it. And I think UM had used some of their experience in the past few years being there. A lot of their guys had been there, so you got to sometimes you got to get close first and then figure it out from there. And hopefully we can figure a few things out from that game right away this year for the regional.
What was that locker room like after the title game, knowing you're going to have more basketball to play? I know you were disappointed, obviously you didn't win, but tell me what that was like afterwards, the Dragon game.
Yeah, it was interesting because it was kind of that, a lot of frustration, feeling like we were so close and we didn't get it done. And just, I wasn't sure what it'd be like when we went in there. I wasn't sure where my head was at going in there, but then also, just trying to make sure that we walked out with our heads high and just said, we're going to look everybody in the eye and tell them thanks for coming and be proud of the run we made, even though we fell short. But also walk out with our heads high because we're going to be practicing in a few, we're going to give you 3 days off. Then we're going to go at it again. And you better be ready to roll for that too, because we're not done yet. So I thought they were in a good state of mind that way, and there's a few tears in there too. And we've always just said, man, if you should care enough that if you fall short, you should hurt you a little bit. Otherwise you're not putting your heart and soul into it. So I like where we're at after that. And I love where we've been at practice wise since then too.
I remember you and I talking maybe about 4 years ago, how at the state tournament, how Minot is crazy basketball right now. You're still playing. So describe that of you've got tournaments going on and your team is still on the floor right now.
Yeah, it's awesome. I just was texting the head coach from our Redeemers Christian School. They're making a great run. They're playing great basketball right now. And I just said, man, I'm sorry I haven't been over at the Odd the last 2 days. We're practicing. And I said, it sounds like, and same with Ben Bowl from our team is coaching at Bishop Ryan. And those two teams are playing in the region final tomorrow night. And I just said, man, I'm sorry I can't make it. Like, I feel like I should be there supporting you. And I'm missing these good games. And, I'm watching some of the A region in the Dome the last couple days. And then the girls state before that. And it's just fun to watch. I mean, we're working our tails off in here trying to game plan and have our guys stopping up and making sure that, their minds are right and stuff like that. But you just find yourself out there watching basketball because it's fun to see high school kids compete. And then it's extra fun because, a lot of the people out there want to just ask, hey, about this guy on your team there, you're winning. How about this guy? This guy's got a lot better. Hey, Jackson's been doing good. Caleb, these local guys and this and that. So it's really fun to, there's really a buzz around the entire city right now with the basketball stuff going on. And then it's also just fun with, we've got both our hockey teams are heading out for the championships too. And there's a little buzz around that, with them. And we have a wrestler that won the conference that's heading to nationals. So it's just a fun time of year for the winter sports to wrap up and see a lot of our programs having success. But then also the high school, there's just nothing like the playoff basketball. It's great. And we had an alum from way before I got here. He's coaching at Kenmare, and he said, "Oh, you said in that press conference, it's March. The madness has begun." He said, "I'm using that with the girls tomorrow at practice." Before I said, "Use it, man! Like, it's true." So, just having a lot of fun with it, and I love the focus of our guys right now at practice. Man, we're competing really hard. Whatever we do, we've had to kind of watch it a little bit with how hard we go, but they're just competing on everything, and then, but they're just locked in, and it's kind of a difference. If you made it this far, you probably have guys that are or gals that are willing to do that late in the season, and it's the best time of year to coach.
The emotions for you think before tip off on Saturday, like, I took this job, we knew it was going to be a grind. It has been. Now to get to this spot, you've won 26 games. What do you think is going to go through your mind before tip off on Saturday?
Yeah, I'm going to be locked in by that point in time. I'm just going to be thinking the same thing I think before every game. And when I say that quick prayer that I say beforehand, I just say, man, I just focus on everything I have on how do I put these guys in situations to be successful. They've got great talent. Can I just help them keep their confidence and play confident? And how do I put them in situations to be successful? And that'll be my focus at that time. But leading up to it, I'm a Concordia, Nebraska alum and Seward, Nebraska. And one of my college teammates is the head coach there. And they're in the NAIA national tournament 40 minutes away from where we're playing. And that's what's special about basketball. There's a group of guys coming down to see Concordia and Ben play on Friday night and us on Saturday. And
Nice.
might even be able to, if they win the first round, see them the second round and then make it to our game since it's a little bit later on Saturday. And there's nothing like teammates, and that's 20 plus years ago for me playing, but kind of a cool story there that they're going to all be around, and got to throw a couple of Beaver shirts in the car with me and outfit a few of those guys are bothering me for some new stuff. So
my last thing for you, just for a lot of people that hadn't watched Northern Sun basketball, maybe prior to last week and seeing the tournament, how many of their eyes woke up like, holy cow. I mean, the basketball in this league is really, really good. Yeah. I know you and we've talked about this for 5 years, but I think a lot of people, Matt, have woke up over the last, like the Northern Sun has 5 teams in this regional that this, like you mentioned, Mankato went and won it last year, that any one of these teams can go and do it again this year.
Yeah, there's a lot of really good players up and down those rosters, and it's just super exciting. And I don't know, did you see our mayor and the mayor of Moorhead going at it a little bit last week with some bets and stuff? So it's kind of all that stuff's great, and there's a lot of really cool stories across across every level of athletics of how it can bring people together and how it can be kind of a uniting factor for within communities and put some things aside maybe or have some fun rivalries. So it's pretty cool to have that. But the Northern Sun is just, it's so good. It's such a battle every night, and man, in some ways I wish it was a true national tournament so we could get away from some of these teams in our league and see some new faces. And but it's also kind of a little bit of I think pride for all of us in the entire central region, but especially the NSIC, that this will be fun. And again, I wish we were all playing somebody else so we could really cheer for each other.
Yes.
In this thing, we've got a couple matchups, and the Dragons at least got somebody else with one of those upsets. So we'll be able to cheer for them at least that first round. And then, but it's a fun league. It's just a super competitive league, and there's just so many great coaches in it, in the NSIC, and it makes it fun every night. We say that over and over and over again. I know I've seen, all of us talk about it as coaches, but it's going to be a great showcase of that come this weekend down in Kansas.
And that's our conversation with Matt Murken. He's dead on about that. Minot State is 26-9, folks. They've won 26 basketball games, and I know we got a ton of people that watch the show regularly out in the Minot area, and I know they're super excited to see what MSU can do at the regional. They play a team they've already beaten. They just beat last week, which maybe is a good thing or a bad thing, as Matt was pointing to. But the level of excitement that is in that area now, with they had the girls Class A last weekend, Minot State playing this weekend, and then the boys B is back at the Minot State Dome next weekend, and the Beavers are still playing basketball. Like, they had long cleared out the years we were going to Minot, that Minot State basketball was an afterthought. That is not the case anymore. And they got players locally that are doing it. Century's got a stud that's going to go play for Murken next year that you'll see coming up later today on WDAY2. Good stuff, and we appreciate Matt giving us a few minutes to join us on the show here today. We'll break. We'll come back. We'll wrap up our first hour. Big second hour on tap as well. Got a few emails to get to along the way as well. We're glad you're joining us back on Hot Mic on a Thursday morning edition right after this.